What was a moment for you where you realized that you had to make that shift, from grinding, right, and just doing
Yeah.
the work and doing the hustle, actually
Yeah.
building something with purpose?
Even as I was in college, even as I was working through corporate, I always had like a side business. Originally, I had my braiding business for so many hours, but like working like 12, 13, 14-hour days. And I'm like, okay, the money is good, but I am tired. Like, this is something that I won't be able to maintain, especially long term. So I was like, okay, I know how to make money. Now let me like make more money with my brain and less of like with my body and my input because it's limited, you know?
All right, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Purpose to Profit podcast, where we break down what entrepreneurs are doing to actually dig a little bit deeper to getting from the purpose into that real profit. And today I'm sitting down with a very special guest, Lake Mitchell. She is a wife. She is a business owner. She's a first lieutenant in the Army National Guard. She holds a master's degree in industrial engineering, and she's currently even pursuing her doctorate in the same field. On top of that, she's a real estate investor, right? She's a real estate investor. She's a tax strategist, and she's a powerful speaker. I'm super excited to introduce you guys to Lake Mitchell. Lake, how are you doing?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was a lot. I am doing really, really good. Super, super glad and honored to be a guest on the platform. I'm just super, super honored to be here. So thank you.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so we're about to unpack really what it looks like to be a business owner in dealing with it with marriage, with your business, with your health, with your service that you're doing, all while building wealth, right? That's a lot. People probably hear a little about your background, they're already thinking like, okay, she got a lot going on, but we want to
Yeah,
be able to unpack all of this and
for sure.
dive into a little bit. So before we even get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little about your background, some of your story, and then take it from there.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. So, yes, that when you say it all at once, it's like, man, I am involved in a lot. But the way I carry it and the way like I move, it doesn't feel like a lot.
Yeah.
So a little bit about myself. So I'm originally from East St. Louis, Illinois. I was born and raised in a single parent household. My father actually raised us, which was quite different. Because usually when you hear about single parents, you think like mother, but no, my dad, me, I was the oldest girl. My two little sisters, and an older brother. So I definitely got the oldest daughter syndrome. So
Yep.
having everybody in order, making sure, hair was did, everybody's clothes ready for school, like hair was braided, cooking, cleaning, all the things. I grew up as like mom of the house. So very young, I like had to mature like pretty quickly and learn ownership and responsibility.
Yep.
But through that, I got really, really good at braiding hair because everybody in my family had pretty long hair. And it's like, hey, especially my little sisters, like I got to make sure that they look put together.
Yep.
So I started braiding hair. That was like my original business. So when we would go like to church or to the grocery stores or whatever, people were like, man, her hair their braids are really, really beautiful. And so my first client was actually my aunt, who taught me how to like where I was practicing on her hair to actually add like extensions into her hair, and it came out really good. So I started just charging people like I'm 12 years old, like you want your hair braided, boom, it'll be this much, whatever. And so then when I got to college, came up to Chicago. Well, a little bit before then, before I even got to college. So my senior year of high school, that's when I decided, like, man, well, one, growing up in East St. Louis, I knew, like, man, there's got to be more to life than this. Like, I don't really love this environment, but I knew, like, college was my way out because, like, I was always straight A student, valedictorian, since like always number one, top of the class. So I knew like the way like I would go it was going to like make it out into the world. It wasn't going to be through athletics. It was going to be through education. So literally my junior, senior year, I was Googling like what majors make the most income. Cause I'm like, ultimately, this is not what I want to be. If I'm going to school, I got to go to school to make some money. So the top two that popped up was engineering and accountant. So in my head, my brain, I've never seen a black woman engineer, but I'm like, accountants, I've seen women accountants. Maybe I can do that. But it was one of my teachers that told me, was like, Lake, you can be an engineer. And I was like, can I? I'm like, I ain't never seen nobody like me before. And then like a few weeks later, a woman, an agricultural engineer that went to another university in Illinois, came down and spoke. And when she came and she said she was majoring in engineering, I was like, oh, okay, bet I can do it. So I decided to major in engineering, but minor in accounting, because I'm like, just in case, I still have that backup. And whichever, regardless, I'll be able to like make some money. So I ended up getting like over $2.5 million in academic scholarships and over 40 acceptances, like to so many different colleges because I was really determined like to make it out the hood. So that's how I got into engineering. And it was so funny because now I also have an accounting firm. So that was like my engineering, like when I started corporate full time as an engineer, that's when I transitioned from like braiding hair full time to having my tax firm. So I ran them both. Then I'm like, man, let's like transition full time into this accounting and tax strategist firm because there's something here. Because once I learned about taxes and how to like apply the strategies in my own life, I'm like, wait, this is a hack and everybody needs to know about this. So that's a little bit about how I got to here, this point where I am now. Yeah, in a nutshell. So,
Dang. So it's crazy because we have almost like similar end times to where we're both running our own practice today, but like I was complete opposite of you two. Where it's funny because we're actually both from Chicago, but I was looking to get to school because of football and athletics and all that stuff. You were the complete opposite. Valedictorian, man. I was valedict at the bottom. I was I wasn't even anywhere close to that. I was always average. See, my mindset was easy as degrees, right? But
yeah,
you are on the
yeah,
opposite side, and it's good just to it's a breath of fresh air knowing that there's people who it doesn't matter what your path is, like you can still end up
yeah.
at wherever you want to go. But I mean that's a lot, and I already know there's a viewer right now who's watching this video or watching this podcast,
Hmm.
and they're probably thinking, okay, like you're a wife, right? You're
Hmm.
a soldier, right? An
Yeah.
officer, a business owner. You're a
Hmm.
valedictorian. Maybe not everybody can become a valedictorian, right? So you're
Hmm.
like you're already technically in that top 1% in things that you've already been able to do.
Yeah.
How do you balance all of those roles and
Hmm.
and being able to do that, as pursuing entrepreneurship? Like how do you balance all
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So I think balance is a funny word because balance doesn't necessarily exist in a sense, especially when you're going after your goals. There's going to be seasons in life. Like for instance, like I'm National Guard military, so I have the 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out the year. So I know for like a season in the summertime, that's when like 2 weeks out the year, that's when I'll be training. But that's not like that for the rest of the year. So it's like everything happens in seasons. So like tax season, that's a super super busy season in the beginning of the year. Then you got Army kind of in the middle of the year, well summertime. Then it's transitioning. So it's like everything happens in a due time and a due season. So if you look at it all at once, it looks like, oh, you're doing this every single day. It's no. It's a time and a place and a season and a reason for every single thing. So when you go through life, instead of looking at it all like, how do I do this all at one time? Just know that you're more than capable of doing the things that you set out to do, but just know that there's a specific time and a specific season for each of the things. So more so looking at it from that aspect, because if I'm like, balance, it's like I'm always out of balance because there's one season is one thing, another season for another thing. So that's how I kind of take to account in my life. So
There's sometimes where me and my wife always talk about it. We was like, whatever we're going through in life, it's always just a season, right? If you're going through some tribulations, if you're going through some things that are it's hard, right? We're just like
yeah,
it's just for the season, and we're
right.
gonna get past this season, right? I mean, there's 4 seasons,
Hmm.
right? So let's get through this
Yeah,
season until you get to that next season, and then
yeah,
move on to the next goal. And I always tell her, I was like, there's no such thing as multitasking. She likes to disagree, but
yeah.
it kind of relates in the same thing. So that's good.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they get stuck, just all about hustling. It's all, it's all about the hustle. But what was a moment for you where you realized that you had to make that shift, from actually from grinding, right, and just doing
Yeah,
the work and doing the hustle to actually
yeah.
building something with purpose?
Oh, that's so good. So I think the biggest shift was when, so I am I transitioned out from 9 to 5 corporate world. So even as I was in college, even as I was working through corporate, I always had like a side business, because I'm just like, I have to, it's just the way that I'm programmed and wired. It's just like I need to be doing something else, and not even doing something else, just more so doing my own thing. So I told you originally I had my braiding business, which required me to be on my feet for so many hours doing the braids. I remember back in college, I was able to do like $1,000 days, but like working like 12, 13, 14 hour days. And I'm like, okay, the money is good, but I am tired. Like this is something that I won't be able to maintain, especially long term. So I think that's when the shift kind of started happening, because I was like, okay, I know how to make money. Now let me like make more money with my brain and less of like with my body and my input, because it's limited, you know. So going when I started working corporate, I would do these projects, and so I was a senior industrial engineer consultant. So we just looked at data and ways to optimize, streamline processes, things of that nature. So one project they had me on specifically was creating Power BI dashboards. And when I say those dashboards took me like 5 minutes to create, I didn't tell them that. The dashboards took me 5 minutes to create. Everybody, I'm talking about the directors, everybody loved them, loved them. And I'm like, Ray, I just used my brain for this. Like, this was just something that I could. So I was like, wait, there's got to be a way where I can become like really, really successful and make money using like systems, like creating something once that just runs forever, and then also get paid on the back end. So I'm not working the 12-hour days. I'm just programming the system and letting it run. Well, I just sit back and be like, okay, checks and balances, making sure it continues to run correctly. So that was the shift, like from working with my hands and hustling into like working with my brain, and also developing systems that can work harder than me. So that wants to work harder than me.
True. It's really, working smarter than working harder, right? How
Yeah,
about we utilize our brain, our skill sets that we already have to build those systems to save us so much time, so we can again
yeah,
go take, focus on that purpose that we're doing and actually building something that actually matters. So
exactly.
that's so good. So I know, I said it before, like you're involved in real estate, and I think real estate is a really big, probably a big part of like your journey. It's a huge part of your journey. What
Yeah.
role would you say played, that real estate played in, your long-term purpose, in actually building financial freedom?
Yeah, yeah. I think real estate for me showed me like real ownership. It wasn't until like I really got into taxes and learning and understanding depreciation and understanding like paper losses and all that. I was like, wait. I could do what? So I was like, okay, so I got to get a 4 unit and use the specific type of loan in which I could. So it was like, it just opened up a world of like, okay, let's go out there and actually see if this is real type of thing. And so when we closed on the 4 unit, then we started, when we got the tenants in it, when I understood like the value of the house, what we could use for depreciation over the years and how it would affect like the taxes, it's like it's really a gain because we're receiving these rent rolls in cash flow on the back end, but for tax purposes it's a loss. So I'm like, yo, this is where we need to just park money. Because not understanding like from a depreciation standpoint, but also understanding from like, okay, now we have all this equity built up in the home. Now we can take this equity out and purchase more properties and still write it off with the depreciation. So learning the system and learning the cycles and understanding like, oh yeah, this is how the wealthy play, especially with real estate. So learning that game, and then also just knowing like, man, this is something that like we'll be able to pass down to our children's children's, like having the things in place. Because understanding that like we folks don't be owning stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't be thinking about like generations to come over after them, you know? So it's like to be able to step away from my full-time job and knowing that like my biggest expense is covered, because right now we're house hacking. So essentially we have the 4 units and the 3 of our tenants, they're paying for covering the mortgage and we're getting cash flow on the end. So it's like, man, we bought this one property and now, it's just paying for itself. So it's just like when you understand the way like money moves and money works, and then understand then like strategies you can use to implement it for the future, it's just like it's a no brainer. So yeah, it definitely changed my perspective of like making money, really putting money to work, and leveraging strategies to do so.
That's so good. And the key thing that like I heard with what you said right there was ownership, right? Because you have that ownership that allowed you to to have it literally paying for itself, right? To being
Yeah.
able to have that additional cash flow, but all of it starts with ownership, right? You decided to take ownership and be able to be to become a landlord, right? To have tenants
Yeah.
with it within that
Yeah.
scenario. And I know there's so many different people who are within the industry. There's pros and cons and whatnot, but like for you, if you had to give somebody different entrepreneurs who are maybe even considering real estate right now, like what's the first move that you'd recommend them to take?
Get a good mentor, somebody who has done it before, because you can avoid so many like pit holes by just asking questions. And even if it's like not a specific mentor, like get in rooms and ask questions. If something doesn't make sense, ask, like humble yourselves and ask questions. Open your mouth, because like throughout the entire process, throughout the entire journey, like I was constantly asking questions. If something did not make sense, it's like, okay, let me figure this out. Let me understand it, because I need to know like kind of what I'm walking into. Now, granted, you're not going to have it 100% figured out at with anything, but it's like the more like if you partner with people or learn from people that have done it time and time again, trust them a little bit, especially if they're trustworthy people. Trust them, because I'm not always the expert. Like, I don't know what I don't know, so it's asking questions. It's like getting in the right like doors and just humbling yourself and opening your mouth. So that was me asking questions about everything.
I mean, especially like sometimes that mentor might cost, right? We know
Yeah,
this, right?
exactly.
And sometimes
Hmm.
you got to pay to play, but
You
then
got it. Yeah,
making sure you find that right mentor who
for
has
sure.
results, has social proof, and can actually
Hmm.
walk you through it. I know there's a lot of different courses and a lot of different things out there, but there's you got to find the right mentor, and then
Got to find the right one.
the biggest thing is don't just find a mentor, actually execute on what the mentor tells you to
Actually,
do.
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's the biggest piece,
There's a lot
for
of
sure.
courses out there. There's a lot of different things out there, but if you're not executing, like
Hmm.
you wasting dollars.
For
So
sure.
I want to pivot, okay, and because this is
Hmm.
something I really enjoy, talking about. And for you, right? So you got a husband,
Hmm.
and I believe marriage is a major part of your purpose, right?
Absolutely.
um
Yeah. Okay.
so how do you and your spouse, like, how do you guys stay aligned with chasing your business goals, but also building wealth? Like, how do you stay aligned to to stay on one accord, right? Because you are one.
Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing was our marriage was built on alignment, like from the jump. It was like, yo, how do you see like your life in the future? Like, what is your goal? What is your vision? What is your purpose? And for me, it was like, can I be in alignment with that? Because ultimately, when I think about marriage, and alignment, it's like it's aligned. God is at the head, the man and the woman and the kids. Everybody is in this line, right? So the man is gonna cash the vision, and for the vision, it's like, can he see like the woman into it? Can the woman be able to multiply that vision? So it's like, can I fall under his leadership? Is this somebody that I can really submit to? And submit doesn't mean like, oh, you don't have a say, do what it's like, no, more so like, can I be sub under your mission? Because ultimately it's my husband's who got the vision, who got the mission. I'm like, okay, give it to me, let's multiply, let's make it happen. So I think that's where it really starts from. Like, our head is being Christ. So us like going to him with prayer, going to like, because marriage is gonna come with a lot. You know what I'm saying? You got two separate people who coming together as one, like two separate backgrounds, two separate upbringings. It's a lot that comes with that, and that's why like we have to both always be going to God in prayer, like really like sitting at His feet and being like, hey, we getting a lot of stuff is going on right now, but Lord, this is our hearts, this is what we're working towards, like help guide us in that. So there's that third person in our marriage, being Christ at the head. So that's just how we stay in line, because my husband has a business as well, separate business as well. So that's been super super exciting, like just seeing him grow the business and all the opportunities that it's been producing. And just as an entrepreneur as a whole, faith is required. Like, I don't, you ain't gonna do this this whole journey on your own efforts and strengths. like having that faith is going to be a big portion of it. So really, like we're both in alignment with God being the head, having that faith, and then Him, then me, then the kids coming soon. So
Kids coming soon. Kids coming soon. And that's so powerful. Because I again, same alignment that me and my wife have, to where again you have to have that center focus, and then along with like with business, I think
yeah.
it's very important to life is gonna happen. Marriage, it's not easy, right? It's not
Yeah.
easy. It's worth it, and I don't say
Mhm.
I think it's better than being single. Okay. um
For sure.
and,
Yeah.
and I think it's also the understanding that you guys are on the same team, right? You guys are on
Yep.
the same team. You're going for the same goals. You want to accomplish the same things for your family, and
Yep.
it's beautiful being able to see all that come into fruition. Hey, it's still
Hmm.
for a season, but it's still it's you're making progression. So I love that.
Yeah.
So I had to come back to this because when I'm reading off these all your different accolades, and you first
Yeah.
lieutenant and internet, like that right there, that like if I hear lieutenant, I'm like, this person's important. Okay.
Yeah.
This person's really important. Um, but not also when I hear lieutenant, or honestly when I hear anything military, like I think of discipline.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you have to be very, very disciplined, or you ain't gonna make it past what basic. You don't even like it's forget about it.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so kind of talk to me, like how does discipline and training, like how's that influenced your business, right, and actually helping you lead, because you're obviously a leader in your industry. So how's that been an influence to you?
Yeah, I think that has helped me get through hard times and like not neglect or not miss sight of the mission. Because ultimately, like hard days gonna come, you gonna get sick, you gonna get tired, you're not gonna feel like it's like all these things may come, but you can't lose sight of the mission. So I think just having that mindset and that background of like, okay, yeah, this is about to suck, but forget that. Like it's mind over matter right now because this is the mission, and we gotta get to it. So really just taking that into everything. Because if I, for a moment, like really succumb to weakness, it's like okay, whatever like goal or whatever I was trying to hit, it was like man, I couldn't do it. But it's like nah, like whatever goal we set, we're more than capable of reaching it. You just got to put your head down and get to it, and then it's the small things that compound over the time, you know what I'm saying? So it's like every single day, how are we getting at least 1% better? Because you either growing or you dying. And so it's like which one we doing? So it's like every single day putting my best effort forward. Now granted, every day won't look the same because there's things that's out of our controls, but as long as you like make the decision and make the choice, because motivation ain't gonna be there. That's where that discipline kicks in. It's like okay, this is the mission. We set out to do it. Forget how we feel. We got to go get it. So yeah, that's gonna look different for everybody. But again, 1% better. Your 1% gonna look different from his 1%. So don't even compare yourself to other people. Your 1% and get better in what you're doing every single day. So yeah.
That's so good. I heard a quote from John Maxwell. He said, "Motivation gets you going. Motivation gets you growing. Discipline keeps you." That's how it goes. Yeah, motivation gets you going. Discipline keeps you
Mhm.
growing, right?
Growing. Yeah.
So that right there. That gave you that motivation. But
Mhm.
your discipline and your actions that you do, that's what's helping you to be able to grow. So I
For
love
sure.
that. To add a little bit even deeper into this, right? To all the stuff that
Yeah.
you got. If anybody follows you, and we'll drop all your socials down below, but like
Yeah.
we know that health is wealth, okay? We
For
know that
sure.
health is wealth. And
For
with
sure.
everything that you already got on your plate, army, doctorate, business, real estate, taxes, accounting,
Yeah.
all this. What are your habits what do your habits look like? What do your routines look like that's keeping you physically and
Mhm.
mentally strong
For sure.
as you take this journey?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So kind of like you said, so like everything, it's just something that's wired in me to just like be the best at everything that I do. So I'm actually right now currently about to compete in a bodybuilding competition. So that's like a new venture. I feel like for a very long time, probably since I was like 16 when I first learned about like weightlifting and started like really really hitting the gym. That's really been like my escape. I feel like that's been a place where I can like see something hard, like lifting weight, whatever the workout is, and overcome it and get that sense of, man, I just got better. You know what I'm saying? So it gave me that sense of like I can do it type of thing, which is why I don't really see challenges because I'm like, man, I can do it. So weightlifting has been that for me. Like we're really working out. So yeah, but right now my routine looks a lot different than it does usually because I'm in prep right now for my first show. So it actually kind of looks insane. But like I said, I want to be the best, so we sticking to it. But when I'm not in prep, of course, just working out every single day, like getting walks in, making sure I'm eating whole foods, the most minimal processed foods I can get. That's usually where I'm hanging out at. Because like you said, like health is wealth. Like it doesn't matter how much money you got if your body is falling apart or you can't even, use the money because you in somebody's hospital bed. It's like no fun. So it's like really, really taking care of both. But not only from the physical aspect, like you said, your mental aspect as well. I think for me, my biggest thing is every single morning journaling and getting my word, like spending time with God and letting everything in my brain just giving it to Him because I can't handle it. Like you read off all the things. If I had to take the stress of all that on me, like I'd have been crushed. So it's like even before I go to the gym, like spending time in prayer, spending time journaling, like making sure my mind and my heart is clear, making sure that I receive like a download, like getting what I need in the morning before I go give out to the world. So I think that's the biggest thing, like working out in the gym, because when you look good, you feel good, and I feel good all the time. So it's like, and then also just making sure my spirit is fed, and then I'm spiritually good, because like now I can go and be a light to the world, and I'm trying to lead the world better than what I found it. That's just what I'm trying to do. So it's like only through Christ am I able to like do that and show up and be who I'm called to be. So yeah,
I love that. See, man, you are feeding yourself in all different areas, right? You're feeding your mindset, right? You're feeding your physical part. Adding bodybuilding to that, I'm just like,
yeah,
I'm doing a lot. It was like a body. I was like, I might need to go up my
that's it.
gym. My gym time is 3 to 4 times a week. I'm sure you probably going to the gym day there
Every day,
7 days
week,
a week.
yeah, yeah,
uh,
pretty
uh,
much.
and again it comes back to discipline because with
Hmm.
bodybuilding I know that you got to be disciplined on your eating, right? Can't be eating crazy. You have to and again that you're probably feeding yourself the right food that's gonna
For
the
sure.
brain foods, right? That's gonna keep you locked in and focused on your
Yep.
assignment. But then again,
Yep.
it's going back to that foundation. How you start your day, right? You start your day by feeding yourself spiritually,
Yeah.
and making sure that again it's not in your control, it's only in His control.
For sure.
So hey, that's so powerful. And I know I'm learning. I'm getting stuff out of this myself.
Yeah.
But for the entrepreneurs that are out there right now,
Hmm.
there's an entrepreneur out there. There's different CEOs out there. Maybe they're getting started, or maybe they're already seasoned in their journey.
Yeah.
But what's one tactical money move that you believe
Mhm.
that they can make this year in 2025 to keep more of the profit?
Mm. I think hire a really good accountant and hire a really good tax strategist. Because here's one of my secrets. Like, yeah, we heard all of the accolades, all the good things, but what we didn't mention is I found the best mentor, found the best coach, found the best person that had already done the things that I was trying to do. And I either paid them a bunch of money or stayed in their face until they got tired of me. They never got tired of me. Everybody, all my coaches and mentors still love me. But like I found somebody that's already done the things. I am far from a self-made anything. Because again, I find the best coaches, the best mentors. So as it relates to money, like especially if you don't have a background in understanding numbers, instead of understanding metrics, instead of understanding strategies, like find somebody who already has done the thing and then just pay them. Like if they charging, pay whatever they charging, or if they want to mentor you on for free, add value to them though. That's the biggest thing. It's like you don't want to just drain a person. It's like no, you got to be you. They add value to you, you add value to them, in whatever form that looks like. So it's like that's been the biggest thing because I know the value that I provide. That I've just went and found the people that have done all of the things before, and really just continue to stick around, add value, pay them whatever, and that's how I'm able to do everything that I'm doing. So That's my biggest gem that I'm gonna drop.
That's powerful. I mean, I hope people were like at this point. I would have already had my notebook, my notepad ready and taking different things that I legit can start applying tomorrow. Right, not waiting.
Yeah,
I know it's it's the end of the month. Not waiting to the beginning of the month, but actually taking action today to be able to
for
make
sure.
some of these things happen. All right, so as we wind down a little bit, I'm about to rattle off a couple quick questions. I just want you get
Okay.
off the lightning off the top of your head. What's
Oh,
one
let's do it.
what's one purpose that you'll never compromise on?
What's one purpose?
One purpose that you it's a purpose of yours that you're never gonna compromise on it.
I think a big purpose that I'll never compromise is that the Lord who put me here on this earth, and knowing that everything is all His. Like none of this is through me and Lake's own regards. It's all how can I give glory back to God? Like because this is all His. You know, it could be gone
Mm,
tomorrow, so I'm not holding on to anything or saying no. It's like Lord. I trust you. This all yours. You know, I'm just a steward of it right now, but ultimately, like you are Lord over my life. So I think that's the biggest
mm,
thing.
All right, last one. Give me a myth about entrepreneurship that you hear all the time, or wealth you're trying to bust. Like we just want to get rid of it. Like what's one myth that in entrepreneurship or wealth?
Yeah, that it's easy and or quick. Nothing about it is easy, and if it's quick, you better run because if it's quick or easy, it ain't gonna last. You know, it's like you really gotta build that foundation and do the work. Like nothing, you might get on social media and see like, oh, boom, boom, boom. They ain't showing you the full picture. Nothing is quick. Nothing is easy.
Yep.
So be willing to put your work hat on, your hard hat on, and get busy, get dirty, get busy. Because especially if you're going in for the long run, I think about it like it's just a small visual to help people understand. Is like when you see like the super skyscrapers that go like super tall in the sky, what you don't see is how deep they had to build that foundation to get there. Because think about it, if they only got like a little couple inches underneath the ground and built to we ain't gonna blow, knock it all down. That's the same thing as it relates to business and wealth. Like you got to be willing to do the groundwork, build that foundation, especially if you're gonna build something tall that's gonna last. So that's it right there.
That's a nugget right there. That's a big nugget right there. I love it. Well, Lake, thank you so much for being able to join us on this podcast. Your story, I'm telling you, it truly proves that when you take your purpose, you can truly change it into profit, right? And which is the whole and your mindset and your discipline, man. I know if it can truly fuel you as well as other people into be able to
For
getting to
sure.
what they truly want. So tell the people like how can they follow up with you? How can they get in
Yeah.
touch with you to learn a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you can find me on pretty much all platforms. Lake Mitchell is my name, but Instagram is where I hang out at. So you can follow me at the greatest lake on Instagram. I also just created like a sub account for my like bodybuilding endeavors called the Fittest Lake. So
Okay,
the Fittest Lake.
the
But
fittest.
the greatest, yeah. Just to go so my whole mindset around like the whole lakes thing is like when I came up to Chicago, when I say, yeah, my name is Lake, they be like Lake Michigan, like the lakes. And I'm like, you know what? Not quite. I'm the greatest lake. So it was like a whole thing there. And so the fittest lake just came from me being super fit still. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna sub account that one. So but the greatest lake is where I am the fittest lake. If you want to follow my bodybuilding journey, I'm there. LinkedIn, Lake Mitchell, Facebook, Lake Mitchell. And I think that's about it, I think, for right now. So
All right,
yeah.
awesome, awesome. Well, to everyone who's listening, make sure you guys go connect with Lakes. I'm gonna put it in the show notes below. And
Perfect.
if you're truly ready to align with your purpose, to actually keep more of your money, like make sure that you subscribe to the Purpose of Profit podcast. And if you're an accountant, you're a taxpayer, and you just trying, or maybe you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to get into the industry, join my free community. I'm gonna have it in the show notes as well in the below. And before I let you go, until next time, okay, remember, okay, purpose without profit is really just going to burn you out, right? But
Mm,
profit without purpose, you start to feel a little bit empty, right? But when you align both of them, that's when you truly win. Okay?
that's so good.
Until next time, we'll see you on the next episode. Have a good night.